Hey there, and welcome to an Abzan Company Heliod Finks Giver deck. So it all started with the core list, which I ran a long time ago, Abzan Company Finks. The goal of this deck was to drop a Devoted Druid on turn 2, and then try to combo with Vizier into Walking Ballista for infinite damage on turn 3. If for whatever reason your opponent killed your Devoted Druid, well, that Vizier Remedies, which is the worst card in your deck by far, still has value because you're able to play Kitchen Finks in Viscera Seer, or now Carrion Feeder, and gain infinite life as a backup plan. Such a good backup plan, you can actually do that turn 4 if your turn 3 kill got disrupted. We've had a few new additions since then. The meta's changed quite a bit. So a big thing that I don't like is the current mana base. Now, it's the old mana base I loved. Same number of lands. If you actually look, I even have more colored sources in the current list. But what I don't like now is that I need more colored sources. Ranger Captain of Eos needs double white, which is pretty steep. It means there's going to be a couple awkward cases where I need a Godless Shrine, which can make my green mana a bit awkward for Chord or Finale. I also need more white, because there's actually just more white cards in the deck. Like a Giver of Runes, I need to be able to consistently cast it on turn 1, so I need enough white sources in the deck to be able to do that. That means we're going to be fetch shocking more often than our old lists, which makes Burn a tougher matchup. Some people might say, but you run Kitchen Finks, Burn should be fine. Kitchen Finks at most gains you 4 life. That's not enough to stop Burn. It's enough to be a road bump, especially if you're dealing 3 to 4 damage to yourself in that game. They can still goldfish you pretty quick and disrupt your Druid combo. Now, a couple new things that have happened with this deck. So we still have the Devoted Druid core, which kills with Vizier Remedies and Walking Ballista. We can get that by a turn 2 Druid, and then either Finale or Chord, Coco, or just hard cast a Vizier, and then cast Finale, a Chord, a Coco, or hard cast a Ballista, or an Ewit if we actually used one of these cards to get the Vizier. Ranger Captain can get the Ballista too, so it's kind of a nice little option there, although that is very white mana intensive, and you'll actually see one of the matches in the league. I cannot present lethal because I do not have 3 white sources in play. And if I did, I would have won that turn. So the other combo is Vizier Remedies, Kitchen Finks, and Carrion Feeder. You sacrifice the Kitchen Finks with Carrion Feeder, make Carrion Feeder big, and gain a ton of life. This uses a lot less time on MTGO than the old Viscera Seer combo, because you had to scry each time you did it, even if you wanted the same card on top. This also makes a giant Carrion Feeder, which with Giver of Runes can swing in for a large amount of lethal damage. Shalai works very well as an extra mana sink for Devoted Druid and Vizier to also win the game, while also being just a good grind plan with Giver of Runes and then Shalai as protection. This deck has a ton of 2-for-1 value, and it's kind of built around Collected Company. If you notice how many 3-drops we have, 10 3-drops is a lot. So we're able to Collected Company into these high-value 2-for-1 cards. Now you might say, hey, this is Abzan Company Heliod, you haven't mentioned him yet. I haven't mentioned him yet because the core of this deck isn't built around Heliod. The core of this deck is still Devoted Druid, Vizier with that backup plan Finks. Heliod is now playing C. You'll see I do win a game with Heliod and Walking Ballista in the league, and it's a cute little combo. I like it a lot. It's just like an alternate win condition out of nowhere. Heliod also is very nice with the Kitchen Finks combo win, because now if you have Carrion Feeder, Kitchen Finks, and Heliod, you can actually still gain infinite life. But if you add a Vizier to that mix, now all of a sudden you can gain infinite life, and you get the Heliod triggers, and you can make infinitely sized creatures. So you can just flood the board with a huge ton of power and just win the game right out from there. If the meta shifts in a way where it's a little bit more interactive and Devoted Druid isn't surviving, or infinite life is just the best way to win, I can see a list that's not running Druid or Vizier, because Vizier is still not that strong, and instead we're running Anafenzas, some more Dorks, and going all in on this Kitchen Finks plan. I can definitely see that being a good way to run this deck. Now, Ranger Captain is kind of the glue to this current iteration, because Ranger Captain can grab Mana Dorks if you need them, Carrion Feeder if you need it for the Finks combo, Giver of Runes if you need it to protect a threat, or just Walking Ballista if you have infinite mana or have a Heliod in play. That's the core of the deck. Let's jump to the sideboard. So I have my removal spells here. Right now I'm running 5. I think 5 is a good number of removal spells to run for the matchups we really need it. Got Abrupt Decays to deal with things like Grafdigger's Cage. Got Paths to deal with creature threats. And got an Assassin's Trophy to deal with whatever. I'm not running a Knight of Autumn right now, so Assassin's Trophy feels like a necessary evil. I have 2 Plague Engineers, which are very good against Infect, Humans, and any Vizier deck like the Mirror. It's also good against random things, and I still can bring it in against Jund, just to have a 2/2 Death Toucher, which can block a Tarmogoyf. Now I have 3 Veil of Summers, which, as we know, are very good against Fatal Push and Counter Magic, and just probably one of the best cards we can have right now. I'd like to find room for a 4th, but I don't have it at the moment. Now I do have my 2 grindy threats, Tracker and Mirran Crusader. I have my Anti-Storm card combo. I have Scavenging Ooze and Remorseful Cleric, which are both good against things like Dredge. Remorseful Cleric is also good against Storm and any other deck that relies heavily on the graveyard. Scavenging Ooze can be a bit slow with how fast Dredge is right now. Even a turn 1 Dork into a turn 2 Skews, even if I'm on the play, that can sometimes be too slow. Only eating one thing a turn, that second turn. And if I'm on the draw, which I hope to be, because I hope to win game 1, it's just not enough. Remorseful Cleric is good because I can chord 4, I can Coco into her. Man, just get immediate graveyard value hate right there. Graveyard hate value. So it's a sideboard. It's tuned right now to kind of an open meta. I don't have anything to bring in for certain matchups like Titan Shift, but I think that matchup is just good enough as is, where I don't need to worry about it. If I end up becoming more worried about cards like Anger of the Gods, I can bring in a Burrenton Forge Tender, which can help protect that combo. But I feel like Giver of Runes is kind of like a main board answer to that already. So that's a deck. That's the deck tech. Hope you guys like it, and I will see you in the videos.